Hi guys, it is Niall and Tomas from niallpoints.com, and we're here today for another episode of the Niall Point Eurovision podcast. I think we've decided that we're going to talk about the winners and losers of Eurovision 2024.
Well, you decided that 5 minutes ago.
It was an idea. Do you want to talk about something else?
No, that's fine.
Okay. He complains, but he just puts up with it.
By the way, what do you all think about our
We've
fancy... The Christmas lights, right?
Yeah, something like
Something
that.
like-
I don't
yeah.
know. We are live from my living room in Glasgow. Nowhere near Eurovision this time. But we're on a non-Eurovision related holiday, so we thought, why not record a Eurovision podcast whilst doing nothing else Eurovision related? If you're watching this on YouTube, don't adjust your screens. I am red. I am Krusty Krab. It's fine. But other than that, everything should be quite
Wait,
normal.
you're what? Oh, Krusty. Oh, yeah.
Krusty Krab from
Krusty
SpongeBob.
Krab. Oh.
Because he's red like
I've
a lobster.
I've never watched SpongeBob.
Well,
I was thinking about Krusty the Clown, and I was like, he's not red.
no, he's really not red. Like he's yellow and then painted white. Very different.
That was Nickelodeon, wasn't it? I was more of a Cartoon Network kid.
Oh, I don't know what network.
Do you know? I don't know how it was in the UK. Like in Belgium, depending on the area where you lived, you either had Cartoon Network or you had Nickelodeon.
Oh.
And we didn't have Nickelodeon, so I watched Cartoon Network.
We had both, but if you paid for them.
Oh.
So there's our first little tangent. You will see the Nemo hat is still with Thomas. We are still repping Nemo after their win.
This is going to be my permanent look now. Not the vest, but like the hat.
There's no other look. Every podcast we do from now on, there will be a pink hat. Thomas is desperate to win Eurovision. You know, it's strange that two people have done it in a pink hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so...
Exactly.
So yeah, we should get on and actually talk about Eurovision. And we're going to try and keep this to a shorter one. We've both had a little drink, so we might be more unhinged. Oh, cheers.
Actually, mine's almost finished.
Should we get you more? Should we pause? Or will you be good for the end? Yeah, we don't want you to pee during the podcast.
Yeah.
Right, cheers. So we'll try and keep this short. Obviously, we've already done a full 2024 recap. You can go back to the previous 3 episodes and get our views on semi-final 1, semi-final 2 and the final. But it's been 9 days since the final at time of recording. And there's still a lot to digest from what happened. So I think what we should do here is each talk about our biggest winners from Eurovision first of all. So who do we think has really had a success story, and not just winning like Nemo, but who's really had a success story? I'm going to let you go first, and I know exactly what you're going to say.
Well, it's got to be Bambi.
Exactly.
It's got to be like the whole just. Do you know how like sometimes you have like a huge glow up where like a song is released and people don't really get it, or they call it dated, or they call it, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
People want to whine about, and then they
People
completely
And the Euro fandom?
surely not, and then they completely blow you away, and people just start loving them all of a sudden.
Absolutely.
For no apparent reason, really. But like, it happened to like, look, this is a Gustav Stan account.
Yes.
But it really happened to Gustav last year, massively. And I think it happened to Bambi. Not just Bambi, really, but specifically them. Just, I'm not saying that people really hated on Bambi in the beginning, because I think it is the kind of song... No, I should rephrase that. People did hate on them, but those same people still hated on them after Eurovision, I suppose. Because I think it is the kind of song that you get it or you don't get it. You hate it or you love it. But a lot of people that might not have felt very strongly about Bambi in the beginning and were just like, oh, I don't really get this. I don't know like where this is going to go, would have been really, really shocked seeing that staging. I just remember that 30-second clip that came out of the rehearsal footage.
Yeah.
Which I believe was just the first 30 seconds of the performance. And I was mind blown by that. And I already liked the song, especially after seeing the music video and having that first sort of visual impact. I already said to you, like, oh, I can actually see where this is going now, and this could go big if they stage it accordingly. But never in a million years would I've expected to be blown away like that. And I was kind of a bit anxious, like, okay, the first 30 seconds are really, really good. I hope that the rest of the performance isn't going to be lacking energy, because we need like more build up, and we need like a huge explosion at the end, because that's just what the song is. And oh my god, did they deliver?
I think we need to go back to the 30-second clip, because out of all of the rehearsal clips, that one is my favourite.
Oh,
to do the first 30 seconds was a clever move, because it didn't destroy any of the upcoming staging or the rest of it, but it did allow us to see there's been thought put into it, and that there is an artistic direction, and I think we're back to our FaceTime effects, but I think it just allowed that the balloons don't suit Bambi. Like that's the problem. The balloons don't really suit the Bambi.
I'm kind of happy it's you this time, not me.
But that clip, it just even if you weren't excited already, I think you got excited, because you're like, I need to see what happens, because the details were there, and I've said this on Twitter. We have been in each other's company for 3 days, and I think we've spoken about Bambi's performance about approximately 60 times. It's one of those.
We've actually just watched Bambi's performance like not half an hour ago.
It's just amazing, and I think it's going to be one of those performances that's iconic for a long time throughout the fandom. And I really hope this reinvigorates Ireland in terms of not necessarily doing the same type of thing every time, because this was such a risk.
No, they like, whatever they do not try and copy.
You can't copy it either.
You can't copy it, so just don't try it. But we do need them to
out the box. Unique.
Just put in. It doesn't necessarily have to be outside of the box. You can have a standard pop song, but just make sure that it's delivered well. Make sure that you have an artist that has a vision, whatever type of song that it is. And that's what I fear though with Ireland, is that how on earth can you top that?
Oh, I mean,
like it's never gonna, like it's sort of similar for me, like with Chanel, when Chanel came along for Spain, and it was like that turnaround moment for them. And okay, they might not have scored well with Blanca Paloma or even with Nebulosa this year, but it still was kind of a turnaround. I mean,
Sam Ryder as well for the UK at the same time.
Exactly, and maybe more so within the fandom, where people have sort of like started paying attention to the UK and to Spain in Eurovision, whereas before Chanel and before Sam Ryder, people didn't really care about what the UK or Spain sent, did they? And I hope that for Ireland it could be a turnaround as well, that people just sort of like get excited to see what Ireland's going to bring. Although I do think that there's always been a sort of like mutual love and sort of like a yearning of Eurofans for Ireland to do well, to break that non-qualification streak. But yeah, like I said, who would have thought that this would have been the way that they would have done it? It's just insane. It's just mind-blowing.
In this century, is there a better Irish performance? And I've got to say no. And I think this has to go down as one of the best Eurovision performances of a long, long time.
Yeah.
Like, the station is simple, but well put together. And I think we need to point out, we've read that this was a I've forgotten the surname, but it was a Spanish guy called Sergey who lives in London, who's 22 years old.
Yeah.
Who basically choreographed and put this whole thing together, including the music video, and you've just got to be like, wow.
Yeah.
That's an
Genius.
insane talent that we've got a new person to look out for in future editions. And RTE better keep their number.
Yeah.
Because
they really did everything that I wanted Ireland to do with this and more. Because I remember when the national performance hit, I was like, it's not scary.
Yeah.
It has to be scary. Because the song just sort of demands a scary staging, and I felt like those silly background dancers, it just didn't work for me.
Yeah.
And then the music video sort of gave a direction, like a sense of direction. It was like, oh, okay, this is what I'm talking about. This is something that we need to recreate on stage, and that Sergey, he really embodied the vibe of the song and the vibe of Bambi as an artist in that staging. I just absolutely brilliant guy.
So just looking at our early predictions for Bambi, we had predicted between 22nd and 26th. 6.
But can I see what I said?
You said a lot. You said a lot similar. So to what you just said, you're very conflicted about it. You don't exactly love the song. You said
I didn't at the time of the national final. No, I did not.
It was your favourite of the Eurosong entries. However, the live performance temporarily ruined it for you.
Yeah.
And it was unhinged and all over the place. Agree.
Yeah.
You think the staging was... You think the staging could have been a lot more sinister, less theatrical.
Yeah.
And that you can't really blame Bambi for that. And if RTE give Bambi the budget and creative freedom to direct their own staging for Mammal, you can see this qualifying, but still 22 to 26.
Yeah. I think I also pointed out when we were discussing it and at that time that we did those predictions based on what we have then, and also based on the track record of whatever country we were discussing.
And
then.
what we think the juries and televoting might actually do.
Yeah.
I'm still shocked at how well this did with the juries.
It did really well. I think it was second for a while during the voting.
During the first top 10, at least, it was Switzerland and Ireland. And you know what? In the arena, I love to see it. I also put 22 to 26, but I also thought that there was a potential chance that it could non-qualify. Now, this is back at Eurosong, so this is back at towards the
early days.
But my God, I'm so glad to have been proven wrong. Like, amazing.
I don't think it's necessarily have been proven wrong. It's just that there was just not a single clue that would have suggested that Ireland would come up with a staging like this. And I think the first thing that sort of started changing our minds was the music video. That's when it started coming together. But like I said, we based this on what we had at that time, on studio cut, on first live performance, if there was one, and based on the track record of these countries. And we know that Ireland have not been super strong at staging or at finding the right artists to represent them.
But didn't they want Ryan to jump out of a cake at one point?
Yeah, I mean, look, so you cannot blame us for thinking that it wouldn't have gone higher than 22nd and 26th. But I did always feel like it's one of those songs, like I said, you either hate it or you love it. And if staged correctly, it could do really well. If not, it's going to be a train wreck. And it's not just on... That's not just on Sergei's staging. It's also on Bambi's charisma and talent that really sold the song. Even their dancer that was with them on stage, who also had a lot of charisma and who really embodied the character that he was portraying. So yeah,
I think I'm really excited to go through Bambi's back catalogue and to hear future releases. I have been teasing today on Instagram some announcements.
Yeah.
So it would be nice to see maybe some gigs. We are planning on doing a series looking at some of the discography back catalogues of the current of the Euro class of 2024, and I think Bambi would be a good one to look through.
Definitely.
But yeah, absolutely, 100% like in terms of like who has been the biggest success story of the year. Absolutely Ireland. If we had to go for a second, now this is to come up with one to follow Ireland is actually quite difficult.
Yeah. Because I feel like the others, basically, when we look at countries that did well, there weren't really any shocks, apart from maybe
the UK.
No, I'm talking about doing well. Like the ones that did well. Are there a lot of shocks? I'm not saying that I was shocked about Ireland. It's just that where Ireland came from in the beginning of the season. But I feel like the others that did well, like Ukraine, we knew that Ukraine was going to do well. Switzerland, same thing. Croatia, same thing. I think maybe Latvia would have been a bit of a surprise. Although, fantastic vocal performance. Yeah.
I think we've also got to say that Baby Lasagna is a success story based on the fact that they hadn't even been selected for Dora and were a reservist. But do you know who I'm going to say is a winner? The long-term non-qualifiers qualifying. So we've got Latvia, Georgia, qualifying for the first time in 8 years. That's a win. You know what? Georgia fully deserved. Nutsa,
fantastic performance.
I was mean about it a little bit to begin with, and I want to apologise formally to Nutsa and the whole country of Georgia. It's just one of those. I was worried about it being too generic, and it is generic. But it's so well performed. Nutsa's vocal is incredible. Her charisma is... She just sort of shines as a person. And I really loved that performance. And the staging was absolutely phenomenal. Of course, Latvia, Don's, as you said, vocal powerhouse.
Yeah.
Is the song for me? No. But it was good. Performed well. What more do you need? And
Germany as well, actually. Germany have also sort of...
Oh, they would have non-queued a few times if they weren't part of the Big Five,
and they have sort of like broken their curse of coming bottom five for many, many years in a row. Like, with the exception, what was the last time that they really did well? I think it was 2018, I think. Michael Schulte did really well. But like, apart from that, they've done really, really poorly. And I don't think that even Germany would have expected that. This would have been the song that would have broken that curse. Yeah. So that's also a bit of a win for them. And it was just a good song. It was a good song. It was very well performed. Another vocal...
Turning the tides. I think those are our winners. The countries that were able to turn the tides of poor performance. Not even that the performances were poor, but they've not given good results.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? I'm so happy for Latvia as well.
And for like Latvian Euro fans as well, who must have been like, please let us, just like with Ireland, please let us qualify.
Could you imagine like the shock? Like, because everyone had that down as us included, had that down as a last place performance.
Not deservingly per se, but it's sort of what you would have expected a little bit.
And my God,
in a television
to come first in the announcement list of, like, to be the first announced as qualifier, I think shocks reverberated. Like, it's almost a shock, but almost like a appreciation. Just like, okay, but what? Like,
exactly.
Absolutely great. Happy for them. So those are probably the big. Can you think of any other big winners?
I just wanted to say, I wouldn't say like big winner, but one that I'm really happy that did very well, because it was sort of slept upon and nobody really talked about it, is Armenia.
Oh,
Lada Niva.
Top 10.
It is Lada Niva. I loved it from the start. but it really grew to be my favorite song of the season. And I listened to it all the time. I rewatched that performance all the time. Their energy, not just Jaco's energy, but like the whole band, fantastic energy. And I feel like in any other year where I sort of sense that it was a very divided year, and we had
Was
like
it? I don't know.
It,
I'm joking.
we
I'm
had,
joking.
like-
It's very divided. It was a very divided.
I feel like we had a sort of people either made a statement for Israel or they made a statement against Israel. And I feel like that resulted in 3 countries getting over 300 televote points, which I thought was pretty insane considering we only have 37 countries voting this year. So that's still like at least like 4 or 5 countries less than some other years, and we still got 3 countries over 300 points. And I feel like they've eaten up the majority of the televotes, which kind of resulted in
The Nebulosas, Georgia's not doing so well.
exactly, and even Armenia, who came I think 8th with a televote, only got 80 something televote points, which is not a lot. Usually you would see like at least the top 10 getting over 100 points.
Yeah.
This year was not the case, and I feel like any other year Armenia might have gotten a bigger televote score. I'm not saying that
Almost like the Moldova 2022 effect.
which is what I was just going to say. I'm not saying it would have been that massive because they obviously got over 200, but it got to a point where when Armenia's televote was announced, it was like, 80 something points, and then I thought, actually that's pretty good. That's top 10 televote, because
it was such a weird year.
Yeah.
The thing I've got to say about Armenia, and I think I might have said it before, and you can actually watch our reaction video, because I think the reaction video for Armenia is the only one where you can watch us for the full length of us watching that song, just with a huge smile on our faces. We adored it from the start. But I feel like it's the one that just lifted the energy in the room more than anything else in that arena. Just a really good feel-good song. There wasn't any really tough messages to get across, although it's got a good message behind it. It wasn't a tough message. It was a playful song. And I have one more winner of Eurovision 2024. Charlotte Pirelli. How much screen time do you need? But we love it. We love to see it. Absolutely just cemented herself as one of the Swedish queens of Eurovision. Even just when it's like the "Tada, I'm back" when Respect was going, and she came, absolute icon. And actually, I think she said this. She did really good in the sing and the "We Just Love Eurovision Too Much" number and the comedy number. Like her comedy still worked. Like you wouldn't,
the timing.
You wouldn't look at Charlotte Pirelli and be like, "You're going to be a funny person."
Yeah,
it's just that made us laugh.
There was good chemistry between the 3 of them, like Petra and Charlotte and Linda. So they had really good chemistry. Yeah, I mean, I actually said, like, when she hosted Eurovision in concert in Amsterdam in April, I was like, she's a good host. She's natural. Like, she comes across very natural. Also, maybe another winner, because we have discussed the fact that some people were sort of complaining about Malin as a host.
Yes, Malin. I love
Fuck off. Malin was a great host. Malin was a fantastic host. I think she did really, really well. I think she held up really well next to Petra, because Petra is obviously queen.
Comedic
Eurovision,
powerhouse.
Eurovision royalty. But I feel like Malin just really came across very natural, very friendly, very kind,
genuine,
funny when she needed to be funny. And like, if you have something bad to say about her performance, then you're just a whiny little. You're like nitpicking, and it's like, it's annoying me. She was great.
I could understand maybe she wasn't the most charismatic choice, like, or the most obvious choice.
But she was charismatic.
No, but I mean charismatic and the most energetic, and she was maybe not the most outgoing, but she did a really good job. And this is maybe not the year where you want someone who's going to be too much. And I
Yeah.
think they're too. I don't think Petra is too. Petra is comedic gold, but she's not
Yeah.
too much. She's not over the
Exactly.
top. And
Yeah.
you need someone to sort of be at that sort of same level. And she was. I'm not saying she was a straight man. It's like she wasn't, like too serious. But I think she did really well. I think a really good moment of their chemistry working really well together is the, where have you been living? Under a rock? Like,
Yeah.
like what are you insane? Like,
Yeah.
they both sort of give
They
and take
just,
on that.
both of them, when a joke needed to be landed,
It landed.
it landed. So, and that's what you want, because we discussed this. We have jokes every year. Like, that's what the hosts kind of do. They make jokes to make it funny. And most of the years, it's not funny. It was really funny last year with Hannah Wadding and Graham Norton. Great chemistry between them when they were doing the voting.
Oh.
I, laughed so much. But Petra and Malin also had that really good chemistry together, that natural just vibe. So
Yeah.
Great.
But yeah, no, Malin, fantastic. And on that note, well done to Edward Afsally, and not everything, obviously,
Yeah.
with everything that went on during Eurovision week, maybe your fans weren't too happy with some of this stuff because of the timing. But you know
yeah,
what?
but
When stuff's already recorded, you can't, and you can't go change it like at that point. So I kind of get it.
and
but
also
no,
we needed a little bit of lightheartedness
Yeah.
as well.
but Edward Afsally and
Yeah.
I loved it.
Great writing.
So now I guess we need to talk about losers. So I'm going to start with losers, I think, if you don't mind. One of my biggest losers of the year, and I'm sorry, but Czechia, and Malta, two of the best girl bops of the year. I know Czechia is more of a girl rock bop, or whatever you want to call it, but especially Malta coming last in the semi-final. I don't understand it.
Why did she come last?
Sarah Benici came last in the semi-final.
Oh, wow.
What? But
makes no sense.
Czechia came very close, so there might have
Was Czechia semi-final 1 or 2?
semi-final 2 for Czechia as well.
Yeah.
Czechia came 11th, so if it hadn't been for a certain country, they would have qualified as well. So I do see them, because I think those were some performances. It makes me question, what does Malta need to do to qualify, because to me that was pop perfection. It was charismatic performance. It can't just be because they chose the wrong recap.
No, I don't think so.
So
Because I think the performance in itself was memorable enough
yeah,
that you would not need that recap to remember it. I think for me, it's basically grasping at straws when you're trying to figure out why a certain country didn't qualify, especially in a strong year as this year. And I think that's just basically it. It was just a very strong year, and we knew from the start that we were going to lose really good songs. Here's the thing, though, with Malta as well. It's not it because we said this when we reacted to the song first time. It's not a groundbreaking song.
Nope.
Is it a fun pop song? Yes. Was it well performed? Yes. But it's still not, technically speaking, not the best song in the bunch. And I'm not shocked that it didn't qualify. Although I do think it was deserving of qualifying, especially with that performance. And I also think, and this is where I'm just grasping at straws, like I said, I also think it might just be the fact that we had a lot of up-tempo songs in semi-final 2 as well. So maybe she just got lost in all the violence, and maybe it was just, okay, which one do I vote for? Okay, I'm going to go for the other one.
first performance as well.
First perform. I mean, Cyprus made it.
True. With
Opening.
arguably a weaker song as well.
Yeah, I'd say so, yeah. Although, yeah, I mean, that's subjective, of course. But
Subjective.
definitely...
I've got to say, one of my favourite dance moves
Yeah.
is that from
I
Billy
didn't mind
Cutler.
that, actually. No, definitely, for me, what makes it more heartbreaking is the performance, is that Malta really... Sarah Benici and her dancers, they really gave it everything in that performance.
And her dancers.
They came up with a killer dance break, which we said when we reacted to the song, like, the dance break is not it. It's not original. They need to change it. They did change a lot of it.
Neil Platt inspired.
Yeah. and they delivered, and it didn't resonate with people. I don't know why.
Yeah, weird one. Who, and also Czechia, I just, we had dismissed Czechia a couple of times based on vocals that we'd heard in the national final performance, but in the arena and watching it back, you know what? Absolutely smashed it.
Great, yeah.
Absolutely smashed it. Great performance. Czechia always did great on the stage, and then the station worked really well for the song. I don't know how they keep doing it with the great staging.
Yeah.
But no.
I mean, to be fair, I wasn't really, looking back at it, I wasn't really blown away by the staging that much. I feel like it looked cooler and more fun in the arena.
I'll give you that.
Than it did on screen. She came 11th, didn't she?
I believe last.
So I would have been less shocked had Malta come 11th and Czechia last. Because I feel like when I rewatch those performances, that sort of makes more sense to me. And I'm not saying that Czechia's performances was not good enough. It was. And I would have been happy if it qualified. But I do prefer Malta's.
Yeah.
Over. So that does bring us back to, what does Malta need to do? Like, last year's, I was even more heartbroken last year for Malta.
Oh,
but we're not talking about last year.
The Busker were fantastic, and we will be on Busker Stan channel as well.
Yeah.
We will stan Gustav and Busker here. Okay, big loser. One of the losers for you.
The obvious one for me is obviously Musti, who I am still in shock for that did not qualify. I know that the performance wasn't 100% like what it could have been or what they needed to do, but I really thought in a televote only semi that the song was more than strong enough to qualify at least, and then get maybe a considerable jury result. So I'm still shocked that how few points it got. It got 18 points, I think, in the semi.
Yeah.
And I'm honestly heartbroken. And if it wasn't for the only thing that sort of makes me forget about the heartbreak is the fact that he did manage to go on stage with that word peace written on his shoulder, which I'm really proud of. That he did that. How
can peace be a banned word?
I don't know. Let's not even begin about that, because honestly, it's we've discussed that at length in the previous video. But that sort of like makes up a little bit for the fact that he didn't qualify. That I can say like, oh, do you know what, he did that, and he was a legend for doing that, along with some of the other artists in the end. But just such a good song, and I genuinely thought when that song came out, like, this is it. This could be the year where we're contending. It was a fan favorite for a long time.
Now there were fans who did think it could non-qualify, and I remember reading some of these and being like, "You're just a hater."
Yeah.
But
I feel like they said it not for the right reasons, because some people were just like, even just talk. They were calling him a horse face. And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me right now? What are you, like 15 years old? Like, are you a baby? Are you a kid?" I was just, like, I'm not gonna get into it. Like, I said what I wanted to say. That is the one that I was most heartbroken about, and the biggest loser for me.
I've got one more big loser, and we need to talk about this, and then that we can call it a day. Just over half an hour. We've done all right. Norway.
Shock.
Like, last place. Still don't know how or why. Can't explain it. It's an interesting one. Was it too risky? It didn't feel risky. Was it too different?
No.
It felt like some things we'd had in the past that had done well. The vocal for me on the night was great. The performance was fun. The staging was fun. I don't know what.
Do you know what I'm thinking is, are we seeing a little bit of a shift, maybe with everything that's going on in the world, where people want something fun?
I mean, we are seeing, I think we have been seeing that since we came back in 2021, of the fun fun performances.
You know, if you look at Cha 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 doing really well last year, you look at Rim Tim Taki Dim doing really
winning
well
the televote,
winning the televote both those years. I feel like because I'm kind of comparing it to Blanca Paloma for Spain.
Okay. Yeah,
which also got like 3 or 4 televote points.
That sort of traditional,
which was like the biggest shock for me that year. So it's sort of similar. It's not a similar song, but it is very traditional as well. And maybe people are just sort of tired of something like that. We have seen a lot of traditional songs, sort of like folky songs in the past that have done really well. Maybe there is a shift. Maybe people do want something a little bit more crazy, a little bit more party, a little bit more...
Maybe the traditional... I mean, if we think about the songs that have been doing well since maybe 2021, 2022, the traditional songs that are more upbeat. We just talked about Armenia. We just talked about Moldova 2022. They've done really well. So maybe it is this whole, we're still coming out of this pandemic, we're in recessions, we've got a horrible situation worldwide when it comes to Russia and Israel and Sudan and all these horrible things going on in the world, and it can sometimes relentlessly feel like negative energy everywhere, just constantly being spat out at you by your phone. It could just be that people are like, I want this positive, I want this fun.
Maybe not even consciously, but maybe people just sort of like subconsciously just get drawn to like the happy up-tempo songs. And then there's of course there's always going to be exceptions. You know, it's not like Loreen was very happy and up-tempo and she still won, but that's obviously Loreen.
And she was born in outer space.
That was a good joke. That is definitely maybe even the biggest loser for me, at least in the final, where I was like genuinely shocked. And maybe another one that we need to talk about briefly before we shut this down is the UK getting a 0 in the televote.
And coming very, very low, actually. When that 0 came out, I assumed...
they'd still have enough jury to get higher.
No, I assumed it was going to be a lot of 12, 13, 14s.
Oh, yeah.
But there's a lot of 20th to 24th. So
they came bottom
the
5.
highest they came was 14th.
Yeah, they came bottom 5 in many countries in the televote.
It's surprising.
Yeah. Again, like, even, and I said this before, for me it didn't work on TV. On screen, the staging didn't work for me. It was too much going on in like a very tiny space. I don't think it was dynamic enough.
There's maybe 1 or 5 million too many camera cuts.
I don't know how to explain it. It was just there was too much going on, and at the same time there was not a lot going on. And my favorite part of that performance was the end when they got out of the fucking box and had the laser show. That was cool, and I think that they should have done that a lot earlier in the performance. But even then, 0 and coming bottom 5 in all those countries televote is just ridiculous. It's like, have you guys even been watching the same show that we have? Like, and I had the same thing with Norway as well. I was like, okay, even if I don't personally get the song, I still thought that was a contender.
Yeah, you didn't.
So like,
you didn't get it. Yeah.
With both of these, it's like, what happened? Even though I didn't get it, like, what happened with the rest of Europe? Like, did y'all not get it as well, or
maybe they were on Camp Thomas? I
don't know. Maybe I just have too much influence.
Oh God, not this channel being influencers. But no, yeah. So those are maybe our biggest winners and losers.
Yeah,
I think we will.
Any shout outs? Any honourable mentions?
Any honourable mentions? I think we can talk about the honourable mentions in a different episode, but they're definitely for me going to be EBU and Martin Osterdahl. They did not win.
Does that do something as well?
Maybe. Oh, it's not doing anything.
Oh yeah. Martin, if you're watching.
That can maybe be a later episode. If you want to know why we're talking about about that, we would really recommend going to ESC Gabe's channel and watching his video about why Eurovision 2024 was a disaster. Thankfully, as fans in the arena, not in the press centre, being a little bit secluded from a lot of the drama that was going on, we were still able to have a really good time. But it was stressful for a good amount of time. So watch that.
But iconic, though. It's going to go down in history because it's one of the most iconic Eurovision years ever.
Iconic of Czechia fan. So check that video out because it's really important. It deals with really important things that happened this year that we are not renowned and intelligent enough to talk about. We will refer to Gabe.
Did you just call me dumb?
Yes. This is not the first time.
No, it hasn't been the first time, actually.
But yes, we. I think that can be a whole other episode. We talk about that, but it won't be as eloquent.
Yeah, we're also going to be talking about our favorite and, in our opinion, most iconic Eurovision performances of all time. That's also one of the upcoming videos, which is going to be a very fun video. So be sure to keep your eyes out for that one as well. Or
also, actually, on that, if you've got any favourites and iconics like you want an honourable mention to, let us know. Yeah. So you can you can let us know in the comments below here on YouTube. Like and subscribe and click the bell. That's what you do on YouTube. He's obsessed with these effects.
There
we go.
Oh, it's on your face.
It's on my face. Let us know what you think. You can also let us know what you think at Niall Blogs on Twitter and Instagram. You can send DM, comment, reply. Let us know what songs are most iconic to you, and if there's anything else you would like us to discuss. And there's also the website niallpoints.com. You can follow me, Niall Poit, on Twitter and Instagram.
And you can follow me at Baidatomarihua on Twitter and Instagram.
And we'll speak to you next time. Bye. Oh, wait, the balloons again.